Good morning, MolyFitters. Note to self, don't have a flat white just before filming. Ooh. So this morning we're going to start with a story. Now, I've always been really into my fitness. I used to box, I used to run marathons, I cycle. Really enjoyed just being outside. And when I was about 30, my back just went. I've always had a bad back, but you know, you get a bad back, you rest for a day or two, it gets better. And when I was in my 30s, it just went. And it ended, I couldn't even walk, I couldn't stand up straight, I was in agony, pain running down the leg, couldn't feel my left heel. Saw a consultant, and when you have an MRI of your discs should look like hamburgers. And most of my discs in the lumbar spine look like the broken biscuit at the end of the packet. And what had happened is, nothing to do with any of my sport or any of my training, it was just the way I'd been made. I'd been made with a rubbish spine. And the consultant told me I needed to change my lifestyle. I had to give up running, I had to give up all my sport, and I had to give up my work, because at the time I was more of a personal trainer and a sports therapist, which meant a lot of exercise. So long story short, I stopped all of that, and it took me about 6 months to train myself to walk again. And even when I was at college, you know, over 20 years ago, learning how to be a sports therapist, they didn't really talk about core back then. I learned about core from a physiotherapist who actually taught me how, by maintaining core, can help you in so many ways. And if you look at the way I'm sitting, I'm relaxed and I'm sitting down, but this is one of the worst things you can do. All of my body weight at this present time is slamming down into my spine, and we all do this. So one of my top tips is, if you are going to sit like this, don't. But second of all, if you get a small hand towel, roll up the hand towel, put an elastic band around it so it holds its form, and just put that in the small of your back. So if you are on say a settee or a sofa it's quite hard to sit up straight, if you give yourself a bit of lumbar support, it just stops some of that unnecessary body weight going into your back. So why am I mean, this session and a few sessions after that, and you can see up to about week 4 in the book, we talk about core. And why is that? Well, the main reason is because, as far as I'm concerned, it is the most important thing, and it is a game changer. And if you learn how to develop your core and hold your core, it will literally change your life. Now, I wake up in pain every day, and this morning was worse than ever. It just happens. But just because you wake up in pain doesn't mean you have to experience pain for the rest of the day. You don't have to go to bed in pain. And if you look at all my past videos where I'm prancing about, and you know, one thing I can't do is stand still, because obviously that's compression going into the spine. And funnily enough, which is great, is the washing up, because being quite tall, leaning forwards, you can't, with the kitchen unit in front of you, you can't bend with your knees, so you have to lean with your spine, and that seems to be a massive trigger for me. But once I've done my morning exercises, which just involved a little bit of movement, a little bit of stretching, I'm pain-free, and there's no reason why you can't be too. Now, the reason I'm talking about core on a course designed to help improve your walking is because if you can maintain a core, it creates extra balance, it makes you much more sturdier on your feet, it helps with coordination and muscle strength. Now, one thing you might not know that you're doing is walking with what we call drop foot. So when you walk, you should strike the ground with your heel, roll through your foot and push off with your toe. So the walking mechanics is like that. Now, drop foot is just slap, slap, slap. And it might not be obvious. If you listen to your footsteps when you walk, a drop foot, you'll hear it slapping down. Now, drop foot is from nerve impingement, and quite often in here. And as I started off this session, sitting like this, I'm giving myself massive nerve impingement. A good reminder of me activating my core is pain. If I don't do it, I get in pain, so I'm like, oh yeah, quick reminder, put my core on. Because the trouble is with core, it's a constant battle. You have to constantly remind yourself, is my core on? And you'll see that odd family photo of a wedding. You remember those? or a family function where you're like bent over hunched, you know, we all do it, but if you can try and remind yourself to activate your core, it will help a lot. And if we go back to drop foot, all it is where your spine has got too much body weight going in, it's compressing on the nerves. Okay, and if you can take that compression out of the nerves and learn to walk heel to toe, which is something that we'll come on to a little bit further down the line, you can make your walking a lot more economical and you'll have much more sturdiness and balance. So let's go back to the core exercises that we did on Tuesday. So we're at this moment, we're trying to work TVA, transversus abdominis. So it was that muscle that acts as a corset around your waist and gives you the correct posture and stops you putting unnecessary pressure into the spine. And now I'll give you a bit of a demonstration how it works. So for those of you that are TVA experts, which you might be after a couple of days, but this is the hardest thing out of everything we could ever do. Learning how to activate your core is the hardest thing, because it's not a superficial muscle that you can switch on. It's a muscle hiding behind a muscle that you have to really think about and try and find. So I want you to sit up straight and just activate your core. And now squeeze your shoulder blades together. So we've given ourselves perfect posture. Put your hands by your side and we're going to raise our arms up to the ceiling, and you can see I can do that effortlessly, like so. Now, make yourself round-shouldered, so let go of your core, let go of your posture, roll your shoulders forward. Now try it. All right, that's getting difficult. And all of a sudden, just from that, I'm not in the right position anymore. And to get my shoulders up, I'm not putting this on, you know, try it yourself, you'll see what I mean. It's difficult. And that will happen all through the body. Simple tasks that you should be able to do really easy and effectively become difficult just because your body's not in its correct anatomical position and you've created imbalances in your body. And this is all we're going to try and do. I'm just going to show you that a little bit of exercise daily can help get rid of the imbalances, put a bit of strength, coordination, balance, have a little bit of fun, and we can just have a much active older age. So we can live longer better. So, waffle over, let's do some exercise. Let's find your core. Now you can either do this sitting or lying. I would always say after the end of this session, or if you're watching this later on, try it lying on the bed. It's much easier to do lying on the bed. It's just easier to find the muscles. And when you do it lying down, lie down. Don't have your neck up too high. Try and have your head in a neutral position. Knees bent, feet flat on the bed, and try the exercise that way. But for now, we're all sitting down, so we'll do it this way. So take your fingers, place them on top of your belly button. Walk about 3 finger distances across and 3 finger distances down. Now, I had one comment from someone this week that said when they pressed down, they couldn't feel because their stomach was in the way. We want to get underneath your stomach. So the muscle we're trying to work at is sort of underneath the belly button, just north of the groin, underneath the belly. So if you're pushing on your belly, you're too high up. These are your stomach muscles, your six-pack muscles. We're not interested in those. We're working your core muscles, which were below and under these muscles. So if I stand up and show you, which is easier, they're here, okay? So underneath your belly, here. So just where the line is for your trousers, about there. So belly button, 3 fingers across, 3 fingers down, push down there. Now straighten up as much as you can. One key thing to think about when you straighten up is don't hyperextend your spine. We will get on this another time, but we want to maintain a neutral lumbar spine. Now, when I say straighten up, if you're in a room full of people and you just say, well, everyone stand up and stand up straight, most of them will stand up like this. And all you're doing is hyperextending your spine and putting loads of pressure in the spine. Standing up straight actually comes, or should come from, zipping up the core and sticking your chest out. Okay, that's what we're trying to achieve. So, belly button, across, 3 fingers down, push in, stand up straight. Now you can stop your spine arching by tightening your buttocks. I want lovely, nice, tight buttocks. And now, imagine there's that zip. Take a big deep breath in. Zip up from here to your belly button, push down, and you should feel something. If not, let's add some breaths in. So let's take a big deep breath in, and I want you to reverse your breathing here. We're going to do diaphragmatic breathing. So breathe in through your nose, blowing your tummy out like this. And breathe out through your mouth, squeezing your tummy in. Like this. Let's try that one more time. Breathe in through the nose, blowing the tummy out. And breathe out through the mouth, squeezing the tummy in. Perfect. Now, let's try that. So, fingers in the right place, belly button, 3 across, 3 down. Push in, breathe in through the nose, blowing the tummy out. And breathe out through the mouth, squeezing the tummy in. Push with the fingers, push with the fingers, push with the fingers. Keep breathing out, keep breathing out, breathing out. And you should feel something here. Remember, it's not obvious. You should just feel something activating, what we call engage the core. Okay, and it's not an obvious thing. You have to think about it. Now, try and hold that. Try and hold that in position. And let's hold it there. But remember to breathe. One of the core muscles, as we said on Tuesday, is your diaphragm, and most people try and suck everything in, stop the diaphragm from working, hence stop breathing. Let's try and hold that a little bit longer and release. Good. So I want you to practice this exercise daily. The whole point of these exercises are they're just done daily, and I want you to do that every day. I want you to find your core, activate your TVA, hold it for 10 seconds, and repeat that 5 times. Just do it 5 times once a day. You don't have to do it all in a row. You can do it, a couple in the morning, afternoon, some in the evening, but just try and get a relationship with your core muscles. So let's go back to what we did on Tuesday. Someone actually made a comment that when they were doing the exercise, they could feel it in your leg. So I'll just remind you what the exercise was. I asked you to sit up straight on a chair where your bottom was the same height or higher than your knees. What you don't want is to sit on a chair where the knees are higher than the bottom, because that tilts the pelvis and again puts too much pressure in the spine, which we don't want. So if your bum is lower than your knees, sit on a cushion or a couple of pillows to raise it. Then we sat up straight. Chin up, find a focal point, eyes forward, don't want to bend the head. Activate the core. So you might know where the core muscle is and you can just switch it on like that. You might need to put your fingers on it, breathe in, breathe out, find it, activate it. Whatever works for you, activate your core, hands by your side. And now with the core on and breathing, nice big deep breaths, without tilting side to side, front or back, let's lift the leg off the floor and hold. And what we're doing here, our core muscles are the driving force of any movement. So we've activated our core, we're lifting the leg and lower it down. And someone did comment and say, oh, they could really feel it in their thigh. Well, that's perfect, because what you've done by using your core as the conductor, leading the way of movement, you've isolated your quad and your hip. Now, our bodies are lazy. They will always try and find the easiest way to do something. And the easiest way to do that is this. Using our backs to lift up our legs, which is what we're trying to avoid, which is the habit that I always try and break in all my clients. Backs always try and take over, and the core's just left there standing like a lemon, off on holiday, never used. So if you can feel it in your quads a lot, in your front thighs and your hips, it means you're doing it correctly. If you can feel the exercise in your lower back, it means you're not doing it correctly and you haven't activated your core. You just need to practice a bit more to do it. So let's try again. Sit up straight, activate your core. So we do it together. Fingers in the belly button, 3 finger distances across, 3 fingers down. Take a big deep breath in through the nose, blowing the tummy out. Breathe out through the mouth. Squeezing all the air out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Push. Feel that muscle tightening up. Now hold it there. Hands by the side. Lift up and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. So you know you did it properly, correctly, if you couldn't feel your back and you felt it in either your stomach or your thigh. So that is basically today, that's core. So what I'd like you to do is practice the core over the weekend and just try and be able to engage your core. So if I say to you, right, everyone, switch your core on, pop, up it goes without any too much consideration or thought. That's it for today. I will look forward very much to seeing you on Tuesday at 11:30. Remember, everyone in Hertfordshire, thanks to Heart Sports Partnership and the lottery funding, anyone in Hertfordshire can just email me and get a free copy of the book. So the book's what we're using as a reference guide over these next 20 weeks. You can also go into Welwyn Garden City Central Library or Tompkins Pharmacy in Harpenden to pick up a copy of the book. Have a great weekend, stay well and stay MolyFit.